Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys enjoyed that small montage. I'm Hex. I'm going to be going over my updated StamPlar build for the Update 40 patch. Let's just get out of the way. StamPlar, especially Templar, is not dead. In my opinion, Templar is nowhere near dead. Templar is a force to be reckoned with. And with this build, we are pushing over 6,800 spell damage before Balorgh. Yes, you heard that right. We will absolutely have crazy heals, crazy damage on this build. And we will be answering the age-old question, deadly or shattered fate. Not only does it come with the meta sustain, meta crazy damage, it also comes with some of the best survivability. StamPlar has some of the best stam healing in the game, only rivaled by Stamcrow and obviously beaten by Arcanist, because Arcanist is just its own little beast in general. But how exactly we get this strong build in order? Stick around to the end and I'll show you exactly how. But before we get started, hit the subscribe and like button. Really goes a long way. Really do appreciate it. Follow me on Twitch. Subscribe to my second channel. Support me on Patreon. But without further ado, let's jabs our way into the build. Okay, so for the skills, it's going to be very similar to the old StamPlar build, just kind of seeing what's changed, if anything. Honestly, StamPlar is pretty good. Mostly just debating whether Shattered Fate or not is the best on StamPlar, which I'll give my opinion more towards sets, but let's go over the skills for those that haven't seen the build. First skill is Living Dark. Obviously, Living Dark is honestly one of the best heals in the entire game. I'm going to say it right now, it's legit crack. It's a cracked heal. Basically, you cast this bubble around you. Anytime someone deals direct damage, you snare them by 40% for 3 seconds, and you get a heal over 2k plus modifiers, which can proc every half a second. If you're getting zerged over, you're procking this thing on cooldown. Next skill is Camel Hunter. Obviously, this skill is very, very good. I mean, it's okay if you cast a skill, can pull Nightblade out of stealth. The main thing is just having this slotted gives you so many buffs. Gives you your major weapon and spell crits, like 12% weapon and spell crit, like that's really good. Also gives you 3% weapon and spell damage for having it slotted. And most importantly, when you hit an enemy from their flank, so basically from the side or behind them, you get minor berserk for 5 seconds. Increase your damage done by 5%. It's honestly a crash skill, and mark my words, I think this eventually will have the buff where as long as you have it slotted at one bar, it's active on all bars, the crit, which is going to be really good. I can't wait for that. Mark my words. Hasn't been confirmed yet. And next skill is Radiant Glory. Radiant Glory is honestly a very strong skill. It's honestly it's a Pug Slayer. It's a Pug Slayer build, but I find it a double-edged sword. It's really good for Pug Slaying, but honestly, it's one of the most infuriating skills when you're getting XP1, which happens all the time. You can't roll dodge this beam. Like, this beam is undodgeable. Yes, you can't roll. The only thing you can do is block it, but if you're blocking when you're running away from 10 people, you're gonna get zerged over. The main thing is you can bash the target, but if you're 1vxing and you try to bash the person that's in the 10-man group, it's not going to happen. Basically, the lower health you are, the harder you hit, and basically it pug slays, because the first instinct when you drop a Dawnbreaker or CC somebody, their first instinct is to CC break and roll dodge, and this catches so many people off guard. And you also heal for a quarter of the damage done, basically, if you have your minor mending up. Look at that. I mean, so dumb. And then next patch, which already is on PC, but for this patch, like coming up, update 40, you're gonna be able to get magic back for casting this or doing damage. I think it is one of those. I think it's doing damage, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's a really good skill. Next skill is Binding Javelin. Binding Javelin, this is what I love about StamPlar. The CC is amazing because you have Magmorph, you knock them away, which I hate when I knock people away. I love locking down people in place. Basically, you stun a target, you throw the spear at somebody, you knock them down, and they're stunned for 4 seconds. It has some flavor of doing, like, ignoring enemies' physical and spell resist, which is pretty cool. But the thing is, a 4-second CC is a very powerful CC. If they don't have the stand to break this, they're gonna die. And it's unblockable, which is just, I don't know, so dumb. Next skill is Biting Jabs. This is obviously our spammable. Hits ridiculously hard on this build. I mean, let's just buff it up real quick. I mean, over 4.7k and does an AoE around us for reduced damage. Each jab reduces enemy movement speed, which is okay, I guess. The main thing is this is how we get our 20% weapon and spell damage on the bill for 10 seconds. You cast a skill, 20% weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds. It's awesome. If you're hearing this, can you please buff this up to 20 seconds? Because bar swapping back to when I'm playing super defensive, I'm not going to cast a skill for only 10 seconds of this thing to last. Please make it 20, at least 15 seconds. I think that would be a very, very good trade-off because the Magmorph is just superior, in my opinion. And next skill is obviously Dawnbreaker Smiting. Dawnbreaker Smiting is a very strong skill, probably the best universal ultimate in the entire game. Hits ridiculously hard in a cone in front of you, stuns the target, and if they're able to tell the tail of the Dawnbreaker, well, that Dawn, let's just buff it up, is for sure gonna put them down. Over 23k Yeah, that's pre-Balorghs too, so. Now you might be wondering why not run Crescent Sweep. I mean, you could run Crescent Sweep. It's a really good skill. I like it for pug slaying, really good. The thing is, on this build, we are heavily stacking spell damage, and slotting Dawnbreaker gives us an extra 3% weapon to spell damage, which is really strong on the build. It actually does add up. So our spell damage, 5406, right? So if we take off Dawnbreaker, we go down, we lose 140 weapon to spell damage. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that should tell itself. It's a stun too, so yeah. And for our back bar, race against time, obviously this is our snare unit. It just happens to get major expedition and minor force. Next skill is restore and focus. This is obviously our armor buff. This is one of the only skills I find justable that lasts 20 seconds because it gives you Stam back, which is a lot of Stam. That's equivalent to almost 500 Stam recovery, and you can be blocking mid roll dodge and sneaking and still get the Stam back. The main thing is, while the rune is placed, you get a heal, which is tripled if you are within the ring. So if I cast this ring, I get a, there you go. Let me get out of the ring actually. Yes, that's the right. There you go. 1,000 on crit. When I go within the ring, 2,700. Like, that's pretty crazy. The reason it's not full triple is because when it comes to modifiers, it's additive, not multiplicative. It makes sense when it comes with the modifiers. Really good skill, honestly. This is how all armor buffs should be. Next skill is Resolving Vigor. I mean, let's just buff it up real quick. Like, let's just see how much. Yeah. Heal a lot over 5 seconds and grants us minor resolve. Over 24k. And you can increase this by an extra 20% while near a keep. So you can be easily pushing over 26, 27k heal on this thing. And divines forbid if you crit this thing. Next skill, obviously, Elemental Susceptibility, most common for 2 as Elisa. This is how we get Major Breach on the build. Almost 6k armor shot on a target, and we also put Burning, Chilled, and Concussed. Burning, Concussed, minor Vol on target, make them take 5% bonus damage from all sources, and Chilled, which is minor maim, which is okay, I guess, but the main thing is when you put Chilled on an enemy with a nice staff equipped, which we do have, we put minor brittle on them, making them take 10% bonus damage from all crits. Your crits, your allies crits, the third alliance crits, all that gets increased. And the thing about Elisas, initially when you cast it, you immediately put all the status effects. So just even casting the skill always puts brittle on them. And for the next skill we do run is obviously Honor the Dead. Please run this more. Breath of Life is not the way. If you run Breath of Life, you are gonna mag out and hate Templar. Run Honor the Dead and you will love your Templar so much. I mean, look at this ridiculous amount here. Let's just buff it up again. Over a 15.6k heal on this build. And the thing about this more, basically when you heal an enemy, any ally or yourself under 75% health, you restore a portion of the mag back. So basically getting over half of the mag back over like 6 seconds, which is really nice. It's honestly what really keeps you sustained on the build. Please don't run Breath of Life. Breath of Life is dead. Even on a healer, it's still sus. And lastly, obviously, Temporal Guard. Just for that simple passive, while sliding, you gain minor protection. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go to the stat sheets. Okay, so for our stat sheets, we're just gonna pop a simple tripod. Ground tripods work, or you can craft them yourself. Honestly, they work the exact same way. So I'll just pop it real quick. So our max mag over 15k, max health over 31k, really beautiful. Max dam over 23.3k, and our recoil is fully buffed. All you gotta do is pop your tripod, hit an enemy, there you go, be in combat, and pass your race against time, and boom, let's look at our recovs. Mag recov over 1962, just shy of, look at that. I mean, our mag and stam recov is just shy of 2k. That is ridiculous. And we can honestly push this over 2k because we do have an extra 150 mag and stam and health recovery for one of our CP passes, which I'll get into a little bit when we go over the CP. Now for our fully proc spell damage, yes, we are expecting the spell damage since Templars do inherently get 10% more spell damage from a little beautiful passive called Illuminate. Casting a Dawn's Wrath, 10% more spell damage for 20 seconds. And ever since the hybridization patch, it doesn't matter if you cast a skill like right now. Does physical damage and it costs stam. However, if I cast a skill that increases my spell damage, it's gonna go up. There you go. 4273 now. Okay, to fully buff up your spell damage, all you gotta do is pop your bubble and then hit your jabs, and there you go. Spell damage over 6,800. You are seeing that right. That is before a continuous and Balorgh. You are easily pushing over 7k on this build. Easy. Even 8k if you're a full madman. Yes. And our spell and weapon crit is over 31%. And our penetration is at 5,700. Might look a little low, but they realize we do have access to major breach, potential minor breach, and obviously the powerhouse that is Balorgh's. And let's just go over Balorgh's, I guess. Everybody wants to see it. Spell damage over 7,500, and our physical spell pin is over 17.2k. We are absolutely obliterating our foes. And don't even get me started on the back bar heals with that. Like, it's just insane. Now for our physical and spell resist, all you gotta do is pop a vigor, pop your armor buff, boom. Spell resist over 31.2k, and our physical resist is just shy of 30k. Templar got it all, man. Templar got it all. And crit resist just shy of 2100. Now for attributes, 14 points in health and 50 points in stem. I felt this was pretty good. Food, simple Jules and Minstrel saying that purple food is perfectly fine. And the Mundus, we are running the Apprentice, yes. Since Templars do have 10% access to more spell damage, this is why we run the Apprentice. Do not run the Warrior, please do not run the Warrior, run the Apprentice. We are absolutely shredding with this thing. After modifiers, we're easily pushing over like 350 weapon or spell damage with, or my bad, over 350 spell damage with this, which is just insane. And like I stated earlier, ever since the whole hybridization patch, it doesn't matter if the ability costs physical, it does physical damage and cost stam, it will still use our spell damage. And obviously we are a stage 3 vampire for one simple passive. Undeath. The lower health we are, the tankier we become. And for my race, I am an Imperial. Honestly, in my opinion, Imperial is hands down the best Stam race out there, especially for open world. We get access to Tough, increase our max health by 2k, the most max health from a racial passive. Imperial Metal, increase our max stam by 2k. And the most pay to win, I mean best passive probably of all, the Red Diamond. Reduces the cost of all your abilities by 6%. That includes all abilities. That includes mag, health, stam, and your ultimates cost 6% less. And your roll dodge, CC, break, blocking, bashing, and sneak all cost 6% less. This is basically negating the fact that we're almost a stage 3 vampire, which is just insane. Like, it's honestly god tier on this thing. And with all the cost reduction Templars come with, it just stacks so beautifully well with it. Some great alternatives. Khajiit would be really good on this build. We do have some pretty good hive crate on this build. Orc could be really good. Don't sleep on Wood Elf. Wood Elf is really nice. Nord could be pretty good. Dark Elf could be okay. Anything outside, kind of stay away from. Don't be a Redguard, please. Redguard is probably the worst race in the entire game. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go with the sets now. Okay, so for the sets, they're going to be very similar to the old Stamina MeltPlar. I'm just going over what has changed, if anything has changed. Honestly, quite a bit has changed. So let's go over it real quick. Before anyone wants to comment those angry comments, we will be going over more of the front bar, debating which new crafted set is probably better over the PvP set. We're going to in a little bit. Let's just go over the other sets before we get into that rabbit hole. First set obviously is Wretched Vitality. Wretched Vitality is the staple for all my Stam builds. Almost all my Stam builds run Wretched Vitality. I'm trying to think here. The only one that does not run Wretched Vitality maybe would be either Arcanist, because Arcanist is broken defensively, and maybe Stam DK. Stam DK, you can run Trickery. Every other class, I run Wretched Vitality. It is just a godsend. Being able to get to 390 base magicka and stamina recovery. That is base. You can get an extra 30% from your pots, 15 from minors, 20 from like continuous attacks. You see, there's so many ways to buff this up. You're easily pushing over 500, even 600 recover from this thing. And it's back barrable, and it's crafted. Like, it's just crazy. Run this set once, you'll never go back. I promise you, you'll never go back. And for the monster set, obviously, the good tried and true powerhouse that is Balorgh. Balorgh is the best monster set when you want damage. Because when you drop your ultimate, that's it. You're committing for the kill, and getting all that extra weapon and spell damage, especially penetration, is really good. And also recovering. When you turn and burn, it's really good for recovering. Because when you drop your ultimate, you maybe get 300, even 500 weapon and spell damage from this. Which is also gets carried over to your back bar heal. So you're breath of lifing super hard. My bad. Honor the Dead. Everybody calls it Breath of Life, but everyone runs Honor the Dead. It's one of those things you just have to know. It's just one of those things. And obviously we are running One Piece training because this is a meta front bar, back bar setup with a mythic. Why One Piece training? Because we do have access to one slot available, so why not slot training? Gives us the most max health for One Piece. And what mythic do we run? Obviously my baby, my tried and true, my pride and joy, Marken Ring of Majesty. Marken Ring of Majesty is hands down my most favorite mythic in the entire game when it comes to utility and versatility. Obviously, some other mythics are really fun. There's some really cheesy mythics out there. One of these days, we'll probably get a build on those. But for now, Market Ring of Majesty, Tried and True just works perfectly. You put this build together, and you get 200 weapon spell damage and over 2,300 armor. Just here you go for free. Don't even have to think. And that's it. No downside. Sea Serpents would give you the most damage. So if you are playing BGs or running a group, you could run Sea Serpents on the build. However, that 40% snare is a death sentence when 1vxing. Don't get me wrong, you'll do a lot of damage, but I like just doing whatever I want. I like being free, mobile, no one catching up to me. It's so much fun. And now we come down to the main set. Honestly, there are two debating ones. The main one I stuck with is the beauty that is Deadly Strike, most common referred to as Deadly. And I'm just gonna say Deadly is very deadly. They got the name right. This set is very, very deadly. Look at that, 2 lines of weapon and spell damage on line of crit. That's a beautiful 2 to 4 piece. The 5 piece increases your damage done with damage over time and channeled abilities by 15%. If you didn't know this, your biting jabs and your radiant all get considered as channeled abilities. So yeah, it's giving those 2 skills 15% bonus damage. That's basically major and minor berserk on those 2 skills. And even the dot from Dawnbreaker will also get amplified by this. Now the main question would be, why would it not run Shattered Fate? And I have tried Shattered Fate, and honestly Shattered Fate is really, really freaking good, like really strong. You put an Elisos on somebody and you Dawnbreaker and Nightblade like a squishy gameplay, and you'll also absolutely obliterate them with a Dawnbreaker. Maybe if they're lucky, they'll catch 1 tick of the beam or 1 tick of the jabs, but more, yeah, it's really strong. However, the thing you have to realize, the Shattered Fate, when you're on your back bar, you get no benefit from Shattered Fate. However, if I swap to my back bar, let's just see right here. If I swap to my back bar, I still get a line of weapon and spell damage and 3% crit for my back bar heals, which is honestly really good. And doing the math, you get like 3 or 4% more healing from that extra line of weapon and spell damage. Yeah, that's pretty insane. So that's the reason that I really like Deadly. Not only does it do more damage, especially with Balorghs. We have Balorghs for all our penetration. We are running like more into maces, penetration. So that's why, in my opinion, Deadly is the way to go. However, Shattered Fate is a very, very strong competitor. Like, it's very, very neck and neck. But my go-to is Deadly. It's just super deadly. Plus, it's easy to get gold jewelry of this thing. So the way we run it. So for the front bar, if you can, run double maces. Here I have a mace and a dagger. I, for the life of me, could not find my sharpened mace, and so I just wanted the Deadly Dagger sharpened. So if you can, double maces, or just have like this concoction that I have here, a mace and a dagger. On the main hand, we do have Nirnhone. Please, on the main hand, make it Nirnhone. It makes it different. With an Absorb Stam enchant, good for the stand sustain, but mostly there to be able to proc Minor Breach, because whenever you do physical damage, you have a small chance to proc Minor Breach on the target, and enchants give you the most, 20%. And on the offhand, we do run a shock damage enchant, good for the damage, but also be able to proc Minor Vuln, just in case Elisos does fall. And obviously sharpen, because in PvP, penetration is king. And for our back bar, we do run the Eye Staff of Wretched Vitality with Drain Magical Poisons. Yes, Drain Magical Poisons are a godsend on this build. Honestly, they are like night and day difference. I honestly started using Drain Poisons, and they work wonders. If you are having more sand sustain issues, go some Stam Drain Poisons. On this build, I felt mag was a little bit bad. I went mag Drain Poison, and my mag was god tier. Basically getting us 238 mag a second for 5.5 seconds. That's basically over 400 mag recup on this build, which is just insane. And obviously defending, because tankiness is next to godliness. And for the body, we do run the typical 3-2-2. Yes, 3 heavy, 2 medium, 2 light. I absolutely love 2 light on all my Stam builds. That extra line of almost 1k penetration and 1% crit chance, just amazing. However, if you do want to go 3 medium and 1 light, you can. That would be a very strong alternative. So the way we run it, we do run a heavy Balorgh helm, heavy chest of the training, heavy shoulders of Balorghs, a light sash and light hands of Wretched Vitality, medium legs of Deadly, and medium feet of Wretched Vitality. For the enchants, if you can, try stat all the pieces, and if you can't do that, try stat the big pieces. What I mean by that is head, chest, and legs. And if you can't do that, max stam is perfectly fine. Just adjust your health attributes at the end. And for the traits, typical seal approvable hex traits, 6 M-Pen, 1 reinforce. Yes, 6 M-Pen, 1 reinforce. The only reinforce I have is a heavy chest of the training reinforced, and the rest M-Pen. However, if you want some well fitted or some more heavy reinforced pieces, go ahead. That's what I love about builds. We fit to our playstyle. And for the jewelry, we do run a neck and ring of deadly and a mark and ring of majesty, because it only comes in a ring, duh. All infused, all with weapon and spell damage, with either mag or stam. I don't think it doesn't matter. Preferably all stam if you want, or even all mag. Honestly, it doesn't even matter, honestly. As long as it's all weapon and spell damage infused. This is how we absolutely push the limits of Templar, because Templars just inherently have 16% more spell damage, 6% more weapon and spell damage from their balanced warrior passive, and then minor sorcery. So that's why we're just absolutely bumping it up. Bloodthirsty would be pretty good, yes. However, infused weapon and spell damage buffs our heals. Bloodthirsty does not buff our heals, so that's why I went this. And for the food, simple Jewels of Mistral, saying that purple food is perfectly fine. Gives a lot of max health and recover of everything. But if you got a deep pocket or don't mind spending a little extra, or Zafka Smoke Bear Haunch, gives you about 400 more max health and slight more reco. And for the pots, simple, good old tripods. Gives us a burst of everything, mag, health, and stam, and recover of everything, health, mag, and stam reco. You can either craft them yourself, or you can just get the crown tripods. They do the exact same thing. Alright, but enough, let's go with the CP now. Alright, so for the blue CP, we do run Focus Menu, increase our healing done when single target heals. Master at Arms, increase our direct damage done. Ironclad, reduce our damage taken from direct damage attacks. And Untamed Aggression, increase our weapon and spell damage by an extra 150. And for the red CP, typical seal of approval red Hex CP. Celerity, increase our movement speed by up to 10%. Honestly, in my opinion, the best CP in the entire game. Survival Instincts, while with the negative status effect, our core combat skills cost less. Core combat skills cost, include, but on element 2, roll dodge, CC break, blocking, and negative status effect is like burning and poison and chilled, all that. And Pain's Refuge, the more than effects we have active on us, the tanker we become. And Sustained by Suffering, while affected with a negative effect, increase our health, mag, and stam reco by 150. And for the green CP, doesn't ever really matter. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Steed's Blessing. But if you are strapped for CP on the main ones I would focus on right away is get Breakfall right away, and then get Steed's Blessing, and then into Rationer, into Liquid Efficiency. But alright, cool beans, that's the build. Hope you guys did enjoy the updated StamPlar build. Honestly, StamPlar is honestly so much fun. Templar, I love Templar. People are going to say Templar is dead. Templar is nowhere near dead. I absolutely love Templar. Templar is a strong. The only thing is, you're not going to burst a sweat. You're never going to be able to burst a sweat. A sweat will never be able to burst you. I guarantee you with the amount of healing you got on StamPlar. StamPlar is one of the strongest survivability class, only rivaled by Stamcrow, and obviously beaten by the pay to win that is Arcanist. But I hope this build does help you guys out in your journey in PvP. But for those legends still sticking around to the end, if you guys can, hit the subscribe and like button. It really goes a long way. Really do appreciate it. Follow me on Twitch. Subscribe to my second channel. Also support me on Patreon. But as always, you know the rest. Hope you guys did enjoy the build video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts and experience with the build. Also, anything I might have missed out, what video I should do next. Subscribe for more. But most importantly, stay Zerging.